Hi, everybody. This is Jeremy Martin from Cinco Medicos Retreats, and I'm joined by my lovely wife, Jessie. And today we wanted to talk about 10 herbs that can help to reduce stress and relieve anxiety. These are herbs that have helped me to regulate my thoughts, emotions, and physical ailments throughout the years. And so we've come up with several non-psychoactive ways, and I will give you the disclaimer that this is not medical advice. This is just stuff that's helped us, helped me, and that she's learned along the way in her herbalism journey. So let's get right into it. Let's talk about 10 herbs that can help you to reduce stress and anxiety.
These herbs are all ones that I work with pretty much daily and have direct physical experience with, so that's where I'm going to speak from. All bodies are different. Your mileage may vary, and especially when we're talking about herbs and medicinal plants, they can have very different effects in different bodies. So I recommend if you're going to try these, start small, pay attention to what's happening in your body, and be prepared that your experience may be very different than mine, and that's okay.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, what's the first herb?
I'm gonna go, I guess, in no particular order here because I didn't really plan an order.
Perfect.
Okay, we'll start with catnip because I love catnip, and our cat loves catnip, and our cat is sitting right there. And this is Nepeta cataria. Super easy to grow, so if you're into gardening, really easy to grow, and the homegrown stuff is like incomparable to any store-bought herb or store-bought catnip that you could get, and our cat agrees with that. Most people obviously think of this as an herb for cats, but it is very effective for humans. It's very calming, particularly if you have anxiety in your belly that either stems from indigestion or causes indigestion. And so if you're having sort of like upset stomach, or if you're, even before you eat, if you're getting anxiety about food, this would be a really good one to add in. It kind of helps settle your stomach, as well as just calm your physical state and your nervous system. It can be good too if you're feeling sort of rising feelings of anxiety. I know that was and can be a common one for me, sort of feeling this like upwards, like I'm gonna like boil over, or things are sort of like coming up, like overwhelmed, that feels like it's rising. Catnip can be great for that.
Yeah, and it's a perennial, so once you plant it, you have it in the garden, it comes back year after year. We have some right outside our kitchen, and so it'll come back next spring. We don't have to do anything there. It's just already there.
Yeah, you might have to put like a little fence around it to protect it from your cats, because we have several catnip plants, and one is kind of particularly for our cat and our neighbor's cat because they just like destroy it and they love it so much.
When you first plant catnip, a cat might sit on it. That's what happened to ours.
Yeah, several times.
So, okay, so first plant, catnip. Good one, easy one to grow.
Another one that's easy to grow and that we are growing and that I love is Motherwort. This is harvested from our backyard. Motherwort, Leonurus cardiaca, which translates to Lionheart, which I love. And it's kind of a nice motto and just something to aspire to, I suppose. This is a very nice relaxant for your heart. And so if you do tend to have heart palpitations with your anxiety, this is a good one.
I've had heart palpitations with my anxiety before.
And it can calm and strengthen your heart, both. So it both acts as a relaxant, sort of a self-care, just like, wow, you've done so much today. You've taken care of so many people. Now it's time to take care of yourself. And also strengthening that lining, or those muscles of your heart, but strengthening your lining, your boundaries, your emotional sort of protective backpack, so to speak. Right. And that can be really nice if you tend to take on other people's emotions, if you are working in a healing role, or even if you're just a kind of permeable empath. I found a lot of help from this herb.
It has a bit of a strange taste too.
Oh, it's super bitter.
Yeah.
It's I think what people would call an aromatic bitter. And so it's a really like bitter, sharp, sudden kind of taste.
Yeah. It took me a little while to get used to, but I really like this one.
Yeah.
And especially if you put it in with other herbs, it goes well with a lot of other herbs. It works as a complement to those herbs.
Yeah, definitely. This is dried, and I love to drink it as tea from dried or fresh. Definitely fresh is preferable, but it's January, so we're not getting any fresh motherwort. This one also tinctures really nicely, and I have a tincture somewhere, just tincturing it in vodka, and I do that from the fresh plant, but I'm pretty sure the dry plant would work very well.
And what proof do you use?
It's 80 proof.
80 proof.
So 40% alcohol. Yeah. I use that for all my tinctures. I know some people can get into, like, if you're doing roots, you'd want to do a higher proof, but, you know, that's beyond the scope of this discussion.
Any cheap vodka will do.
I use literally the cheapest vodka.
Yeah. And that's what we use for our mushroom tinctures and decoctions and things like that as well. So, great. All right. Yeah. So, next herb.
Let's talk about Damiana. Turnera diffusa. Damiana is, you may have heard of it as an aphrodisiac, which it can be, but really it gets that action from its relaxant action. So it's really relaxing sort of your whole system, as well as improving circulation. I like that the name is diffusa because it kind of is this diffusive herb, which sort of
right. And anxiety is so contracting. You know, you feel it in a particular area. Maybe you mentioned the belly. Maybe it's the heart. Maybe it's the temple. If you're having headaches or things like that,
and certainly your muscles,
your
skeletal muscles. Yeah,
exactly. Like I had sciatica for many years, and so if it diffuses that in the body.
Yeah, it can increase that circulation to the nerve endings and really increase your sense of your body. So, you know, if you are feeling sort of numb from that anxiety or
dissociated,
burnout, it can kind of put you back in your body and help you feel. And it's actually good for, or it helps with neuropathy as well. So it can restore function to dead nerve endings, which is fantastic.
And using meditation or breath work as an adjunct to working with herbs can really help. We were talking about intention, you know, and putting an intention, knowing why you're using it, why you're working with it, and also the course of treatment. Maybe you could speak a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that gets, certainly there's many ways that you can work with an herb. Depends on the herb, it depends on what you're working with it for and what your intention is, but just a simple way to do that is to write your purpose or your intention onto the label of your tea or your tincture or whatever it is. So, you know, for example, for Motherwort, if I'm working on increasing my emotional boundaries, not taking on other people's emotions, I might write that on the jar, or I might come up with like a fun phrase, like a simple thing. Well, that's not, I wouldn't do that for Motherwort. You're getting ahead of us here. You know, I might write Lionhearted on Motherwort, and so then every time I make it into tea, or every time I take the tincture, I would kind of say that to myself, and that really does enhance the powers, the function of the herb. It makes you sort of a co-creator with it, and it just it makes it better, you know. And it's totally contrary to the medical establishment, where we take a drug. My doctor has me on this drug and I'm going to take it. I don't know what it's for. I don't know what it does. And, you know, this is really done with intention and knowledge.
Yeah. So that's great. Now, how much would you use of this herb, or any really herb? Are we talking teaspoons, tablespoons?
Well, any of these that we're talking about today are very safe, and you can really have as much as you want.
Okay.
So, you know, you can experiment with that, starting with, you know, 2 teaspoons in like a reusable tea bag for a mug of tea.
Yeah.
And if then you're like, wow, that was really strong, that was too much, back off. I tend to make my teas very strong, as you know.
Yeah. I like my medicine strong too.
I like my medicine strong. This mug is like, I just made this batch of decoction for myself, and it's like very, very strong.
And you can do multiple washes as well.
Yeah. My favorite method is a French press. Mm-hmm. And so filling the bottom of the carafe, half an inch to an inch full of your herb. And if you were going to do several of these together, making it kind of total an inch at the bottom, and then filling it with hot water, and then you press it, and you get like 2 mugs from it or whatever. Less if you have more herb in there.
Great.
Yeah, so Damiana,
right.
that's
Damiana.
a good one. Let's see, lemon balm. I feel like lemon balm is having a moment. It's become pretty popular. Also incredibly easy to grow.
Also smells
in
great.
The garden.
Really smells good.
Great. The fresh stuff really is so much better than the dry.
Yeah, if you can grow this in your garden, you'll smell it. It smells amazing.
The dry stuff is like.
Yeah,
it's like okay.
Really get the magic.
The fresh stuff is like. It's like wow.
Yeah.
Which is cool, and it grows super easily, and you can divide it, and it'll come back as a perennial. This one I also love to make a tincture out of the fresh plant, and I haven't yet, but you could make an oil out of it too, and then that would be really great for cold sores.
Right.
But again, this is beyond the scope of what we're talking about today. This is a really lovely relaxing herb, and if you make a really strong tincture, it can be like a very powerful sleep aid, I have found. This one is a little cooling in nature. So if you're, if you run on the cold side, or if it's the middle of January, for example, this might not be your first go-to, but it is really nice in the summer. Skullcap. Skullcap is a cool one. It's one that I had never heard of before starting my herbal journey. And it is also in the mint family. Scutellaria lateriflora.
Okay. I'll put descriptions below, and you guys can see a little bit more information from Materia Medica.
This is a tincture I'm making of skullcap, just from the dry herb, and it was the first tincture I've made from dry herb. I'm very pleased with how well it's working.
It looks good.
A couple times. Yeah, it's mostly herb in there, but it's gotten quite dark.
Looks thick.
It's very thick. Skullcap is really excellent for relaxing the muscles of the head and the neck, and the like shoulders and upper back. So if you do get tension headaches, it's really great for those, or even just like neck and back pain. If you tend to like tense up from your anxiety, skullcap can be really nice for that.
Check out my vagus nerve exercises video for that. There's some good neck exercises, and so you can work with herbs and do body movement, and that way it's sort of a more holistic approach.
Yeah, and then that's kind of getting back to that co-creation where it's like, all right, I'm going to work with the herb, but then I'm not going to just go sit in front of the computer 10 step again. Right. It's like I'm going to also do my own work, and the herb is going to assist me.
Exactly. It's not a passive approach.
Yeah.
You got to put some work into it.
Yeah. Skullcap is also really great for those kind of racing, looping thoughts that often come with anxiety. And I really love it for that. This, it doesn't have like a super pleasant taste. It's bitter, and I normally love bitter things, and I'm not enamored with the taste of this. So, if you're going to put it in a tea with some other things. Once I get through all of these, I might give some recommendations for how to combine them that I like. Or you can tincture it, and then you don't have to taste it too long.
And you can always add honey, right? I mean,
you can always add honey. It doesn't always make it taste better.
Okay.
With really bitter plants, honey actually doesn't kind of work.
Okay.
And it's like bitter and sweet don't usually help each other.
So maybe if you had a teaspoon of honey.
Yeah,
at the ready, chase it with some honey.
Yeah, or drink it, or take it as a tincture, and then drink a nicer flavored tea.
Yeah.
After that, sip on that, and like my personal routine is, to take some of them in tincture and then some of them in tea, and maybe I'll go into that after I've gone through these.
Okay.
But yeah, skullcap, that's a great one. I like that one.
Awesome.
Wood betony, Stachys or Stachys officinalis. I spelled that wrong on the label. Wood betony is a great antispasmodic. So if you're having that muscle tension or the mental tension, it can be really good and relaxing for that. And also really great for grounding into your body. And it can be helpful with mild dissociation.
And that makes sense too, because anxiety, you tend to fly out of your body, you tend to dissociate, you tend to want to leave, flee a situation, or freeze and contract. And so something that's very grounding. You usually don't feel safe with anxiety, so this helps you to feel a little bit safer.
There's an old saying, like a very old saying from Rome, maybe?
I don't know.
Sell your coat and buy betony.
Right.
And it was used in the treatment of epilepsy.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Looks a little bit like hay.
I know. It's, you wouldn't know it looking at it. All right. Linden is that hug in a mug.
Okay.
This really is like a nervous system hug.
And this is the tree, linden tree.
It's the linden tree.
So found
in the
a
northeast.
lot in the northeast.
Yep. Yeah. And if you can get the flowers, I haven't actually had experience with the flowers beyond just like smelling them on the sidewalk, but the flowers are supposed to taste delicious as well.
Yeah.
This is just like leaf, I think.
And that's another way you can work with the plant is you can go up to the plant, you can learn more about the tree, you can see it, it's got flowers, they look like this, and work with different parts of the plant.
Yeah, totally. As long as you're positive what the plant is,
positive.
You've absolutely identified it. You're confident with your botany. This video is not
an
anything to go off.
Video.
This is not an identification video whatsoever.
Exactly. Have multiple sources that you can confirm and be absolutely 100% sure.
Absolutely. Linden, it is really beneficial for your nervous system. It is a more moistening herb. And so if it is the middle of winter and when we all tend to feel very dry, linden can be really nice for that. Or if your anxiety comes with sort of a dry, staticky, crackly feeling in your body, if you just sort of feel like on edge and spiky and dry, some people's anxiety might be a little more, it might present closer to depression where you're slowed down and you're boggy and you're just like, I just can't get myself to go. Linden might be nice too. I don't know. Try it. But this one is definitely good for sort of moistening the nervous system and kind of lubricating it, I guess. But yeah, it's a really nice one.
All right, linden.
And another moistening relaxant is rose. This is rose petal. On this one, the leaf has a very different action. So I'm only talking about rose petal. And with rose petal, you definitely want to make sure it's organic. If you're just collecting from the neighborhood or something, your neighbor's roses, you want to make absolutely certain that they're not sprayed, because a lot of roses, they have a lot of pests. And people want them to look perfect and nice, and so they spray a lot of things on them. So definitely, absolutely make sure you know, or get it from a reputable source. Yeah. Or grow it yourself.
Goes really well with cacao, too.
Yeah, it goes really well with cacao. Really nice, lovely floral flavor, as you might expect, kind of like what it smells like. That's not everybody's thing, though. Right. So, keep that in mind. This is just like a really lovely, relaxing drink, and I like to add it to things for that flavor and that sort of just like extra relaxing oomph. It sort of, I don't know, it gives this like feeling of like home, or just like feeling safe, which is really nice and very important with dealing with anxiety, or like if you want to go to sleep, it's like maybe you don't feel safe and that's making it difficult to fall asleep. Rose can be really nice for that. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, thank you, Jessie.
Wait, I'm not done.
Oh, she's got one more.
I have chamomile. I didn't even bother to put this in a jar.
Okay. I was like, well, I didn't see any more.
It's so big. I just got a fresh bag of it. And I don't even bother to put this in a jar because I use it by the many handfuls. Mm-hmm. So every night I will make a French press of chamomile and probably use 3 handfuls of it, maybe. I mean, it's a very fluffy herb, so that...
Great for sleep, too.
That definitely impacts the volume of it.
Yeah.
Many people think oh, chamomile, that's not going to do anything for me. But you have to make it like you mean it. You have to put a lot
Lots
in
of chamomile.
and then let it sit for 30 to 40 minutes. Maybe stir it around a couple times. Really, really let all of the constituents come out. Because if you're just getting one tea bag and you put it in the water for 5 minutes and it looks just clear pale liquid, that's really only getting part of the plant, and it's also only getting a little bit of the plant. So with chamomile, if you make it really strong, so it's actually a dark liquid, it's going to be very beneficial for sleep. It's changed my life, I think, chamomile.
Beautiful flower, too.
Yeah.
Really beautiful.
Easy to grow, nice to harvest. You can tincture it, too. I have tinctured it, but I haven't actually worked with the tincture very much yet. Uh-huh. So I should strain that and work with it.
And it keeps flowering over and over again.
Yeah, you pick off the flower as soon as it's bloomed, and then it'll keep producing more flowers. Yep. So I like to combine chamomile with catnip. That's a really nice bedtime beverage. Or I'll kind of either do catnip or skullcap. And if you do the catnip, or if you do the chamomile strong enough, it'll kind of cover up the skullcap taste. And I didn't bring it or include it, but I also always put fresh ginger in with my chamomile. The flavors really complement each other. And ginger can be a very relaxing herb.
Anti-inflammatory.
It's anti-inflammatory and it's antispasmodic. And so it releases that swelling, that inflammation from your muscles, as well as sort of relaxes the tension from them. So at the end of the day, I work on my feet all day, and my body is tired and tense, and the ginger just relaxes my whole body. It also is a circulatory stimulant, and so it will help kind of get your relaxing herbs more through your body. So especially if you're anxious and tense and contracted, if you drink some herbs, it might just kind of go through, right? But if you drink a circulatory stimulant and an opener, it'll sort of get them everywhere and help your body absorb them better.
Makes sense. All right. Well, now I can say thank you, Jessie. Thank you for your time. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this has been helpful. If you want to see more stuff like this, let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe, and take care.
Drink some tea.
Yeah.